So Connie, we're here at Google I/O. What did you think of the keynote today?
So the keynote was really interesting because Larry Page made a surprise appearance at the end of it, 3.5-hour long keynote, a lot of surprises, and he spent more than 30 minutes on stage, and this comes a day after he said he had lost his voice this past year, had to have vocal surgery. So he was out there taking a lot of questions.
Despite the faster change we have in the industry, we're still moving slow relative to the opportunities that we have. And some of that, I think, is due to the negativity. You know, every story I read about Google is kind of us versus some other company or some stupid thing, and I just don't find that very interesting. We should be building great things that don't exist.
What I thought was most interesting was what he talked about, which is he used the opportunity on stage to take a shot at some of his rivals, specifically Microsoft and Oracle, who he basically accused of not playing nice in terms of bringing web standards and web technologies to users.
You said something interesting about Oracle. They're only concerned about money? Is that?
Yeah, he talked about the disagreement that they've had that has gone to court over the Java language, and he said that they basically only cared about money. But he did say that he thought that in the end that they would work something out. So we'll have to see. But I wanted to ask you, what did you think of some of the tech announcements that they made?
So what was interesting, and I think what people were most interested about, was the fact that there were very few glass announcements, especially after last year with the skydivers and the mountain bikers and what have you. Very few mentions of glass on stage. This year was more about the developers and about other products. For example, Maps, unveiling a new whole integration for Maps, as well as 41 new features for Google+. It was a funny kind of pot shot as well with Google Maps and iOS.
No downloads. This is the Google Earth experience right here on the browser. And the beauty of this place is really on the inside. This is a 3D photo tour that is automatically generated from user-uploaded photos. So it will only get better and better.
One that I thought was pretty interesting was the ability to search your photos through photo albums and pick out the best ones. So Google now has an algorithm that can essentially pick out your best photos from your vacation photo album, for example.
They called it highlights.
Right.
Yeah.
We can go from these 686 pictures to these. It's remarkably accurate.
Another interesting application was the conversational search, kind of Google's version of Siri, if you will, but it seemed a lot better, a lot smoother on stage.
Okay, Google, show me pictures of the Santa Cruz Boardwalk.
Here you go. Some pictures related to the Santa Cruz Boardwalk.
It had hot wording, which they described as an ability to search for keywords and understand the human language better.
I think the focus on Google Plus is very interesting. They haven't had a lot of traction with it. It was announced, 2 or 3 years ago, and not a lot of users on Google Plus. They're trying to change that, obviously. The voice recognition technology that you're talking about was also extremely interesting. It's the centerpiece of Google Now, which is sort of your virtual digital assistant, if you will. And I also think it's interesting that they announced it here in this venue. We're at Moscone Center in San Francisco, where in a few weeks Apple will hold its annual Worldwide Developers Conference. There's been a lot of criticism of Apple not advancing its iOS operating system, and today we heard a lot about what Google is doing with Android. So we'll see what else Google I/O has to offer. This is only day one, 2 more days to go.